tutorial starts with a song, but it's only a few seconds long.
Computer animation. Computer animation. Computer animation.
Let's get started with animation. Hello friends, today I'll talk about 4 lights and a simple scene. This is a cloth object and it's nicely textured. I used a texture which I created in Substance Alchemist. Try Substance Alchemist in order to get complex textures. It's really lovely and you'll see it when it's been rendered now, pretty soon. The scene consists of, apart from that geometry, which is, as I said, cloth, behaves like cloth, it has 4 lights, 2 area lights from both sides. I more or less randomly placed them there. Then there's a sky dome light, that's the one which wraps around the whole scene, that big sphere here. And we have a tiny light, which is a point light, which sits on top of that folding structure here. Now we're in the viewer, and this is the called Viewport 2.0. If we go to Arnold and render it, we see the influence of the light. And it looks pretty shallow. And when you render in the viewport, which is sort of IPR or more or less real-time rendering, you see the grid. For example, if you don't want to see this, just untick it. The interesting thing about lighting is how different the views can be with different kinds of lights. And that's what I'm going to show you now. And I go to Arnold and Utilities, and here I have the Light Manager. Shows all the lights in the scene and they're all enabled. When I disable, for example, the AI Sky Dome, the scene gets much darker, and what a different impression we have. That's mainly or maybe only the influence of that point light here. When I switch off the point light, the scene goes totally dark, and now I can switch on the area light shape from the left and right. I change the exposure from, which is currently set to minus whatever, to a higher value. Now the light creeps in from the left. This is a very harsh lighting. It looks a little bit like on a stage. When you reduce it a little bit, activate the sky dome light again, which makes that flat light, and reduce the intensity of the sky dome, either here or there with the exposure. You get a mixture between these two lights. Already looks much better. When we get closer, even better, I guess. What you see now with this mixture of just one area light and the sky dome light, that the texture comes out very nicely. It also depends on what kind of camera you use. And when we move out a bit and go back to the viewport rendering, you see a camera up here. This is the camera called Perspective 1. I created that using this menu here. When you're here, for example, and you go closer and you think this is the most interesting part here, you would go to View and create a camera from that view. It would create Perspective 2 camera and you would look right through it. And then you could lock that camera right here. That means you don't inadvertently move it. So you have a specific view which you're interested in, and then the camera is stuck there. I don't want to do this because I already have a perspective camera. That's where is it? Up here. And if I want to look through that camera into the scene now, I can do it in several ways. And one way is to middle mouse drag it. Middle mouse button is the context button. Drag the perspective into that field and drop it here. Now we're looking through that perspective camera and you see the perspective 1 appear here. So now we can render this view And we can move the camera. I think it's not locked. Yes, it is locked. I unlock it so I can move it a little bit. And I want to go here to the folding structure. Lots of folds here. And now I can lock it again, because I like that position, for example. And now play with the light mixture again. It's like a mixing board for music, really. So let's reduce the sky dome, or deactivate the sky dome light totally. Deactivate the area light and reactivate the point light. So that's the rendering with only the point light. Finally, where is my area light shape number 2? Let me make it more intense. You see, it comes from the right hand side now. And because it's sitting at a very low position, it enhances this, the bump map and the displacement structures right here. Basically all over the place. So when I switch off the point light again, and make the light from the right stronger, deactivate the sky dome light, deactivate the light shape number 1. So I have only one light working in the scene now. So you can select them. You would typically now reduce the intensity again. So you still see that kind of structure. And then lead the viewer to a specific part here with the point light. So the Arnold Light Manager is a good tool to start with a lighting mix, and 4 lights in the scene already give you so many parameters that you can light basically any kind of drama or dullness, whatever you like. And of course there are all kinds of different lights, so we just use standard lights here. And I wish you a very good day with lots of light. Maybe not too much. Bye bye.